Hi, welcome to another episode of Rested Recreation. We're still dealing with bitter cold temperatures outside. Bitter cold for Missouri. It's 21 degrees. I think that's like -4, maybe -5. I'd have to look it up to be sure. Celsius. Um, Falling temperatures all day, 20-mile-an-hour winds. Tomorrow morning it's supposed to be 4 degrees. I believe that's like -15 Celsius. So we're just going to give you a quick time lapse. This heater's not going to be off for very long. And the time lapse, you don't have to listen to it running. And you don't have to watch me tear down another motor and bore you to death with all of that. So it's going to be rather quick. We're going to find out if this 4.3 has parts available to save the 5.7. Alrighty, we're about 45 minutes deep into this project. I got the heater off so you all can hear me talk. Still a little bit of progress update. We got the intake off of it. Can you guess which side of that intake had the fuel leak? I'm going to guess it's the clean side. Filled the crankcase full of gas. That's the mess of wire. Handful of items from the top of the motor. They don't look quite so unruly once you get all the extra stuff off of them. Yeah. It's lunchtime. I'm gonna go in and grab myself a bite to eat. Let the heater continue to run. And we will see y'all shortly after. I just got back from lunch. And that heater's been running 3 hours solid now since I started this morning. And walking in here, I could smell the diesel fumes getting pretty thick. So we're gonna work without heat and let it air out a little bit in here, and at least try to get this engine on the engine stand. Let the fumes dissipate. Alrighty. Slowly making progress between warming up and getting cold and breathing the diesel fumes and all that fun stuff. That here we are, we're making headway. We got it on the stand. Start pulling the heads off. See if the valve train's of any use. See if the pistons are any use. See if we can use anything out of this motor to bring that 5.7 back to life. Here's one thing about this Chevy 4.3, if you weren't aware, that they're notoriously unbalanced, that they had to add a balance shaft to the top of this motor to keep it from shaking like it's going out of style. it snowed and then it melted, and now it's snowing again. Got that nice layer of white laying on top of everything. Gotta love Missouri weather, folks. If you don't like it and you wait about 10 minutes, it'll change. I'm gonna put you all back on time lapse now. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention. I'm glad I checked that oil before I rolled that motor upside down and pulled the pan off of it. That had been a heck of a mess. Alrighty, we have her all torn down. Well, as torn down as I'm going to get it, that I'm not going to pull the camshaft or balance shaft out of it. Pistons are mostly what I'm concerned with, that we might need to pull a lifter or two, but if I gotta order lifters, I'm just going to order a whole set of lifters. Probably not concern myself with used lifters. I guess budget and time will decide that. Let's take a quick look at this motor. You can see the gear drive off of the camshaft for the balance shaft. You got a different style retainer for the lifters, so I presume that there's probably roller lifters in there as well. For a 300,000 mile motor, this really was, well, 280, give or take 10. But anyways, it really doesn't look like it's in horrible shape. Definitely in better shape than the other one I pulled out. It's just, you can see, maybe you can't see, but the machine surface, you can kind of see how the oil is starting to break down from the gas that was sitting in it all them years, and definitely come out a lot more liquid than you would expect oil to come out of the motor at when it's only 40 degrees in the shop. All the pistons, all the rings in these pistons were good, so get the micrometer out tomorrow, and we'll check, see if pistons all, they're the same length, same size, the rods are all going to work, and we might save that, at least save the rotating mass of that 350. Really, you look at the heads, and that's the side that was carboning up, those filling full of gas. You see all the unburned fuel, all the extra carbon, and then this side's a lot cleaner than the other side was. Other than that, we got all the parts organized somewhat. Let's take a look at this crankshaft. Now, this is the 4.3 crank. You notice that the connecting rods are offset from each other. Each pair is offset, whereas the crankshaft out of the V8, the pairs, the cylinders also a common journal. This probably has a lot to do with why the 4.3s have a balance issue and why they have a balance shaft installed, and I don't quite understand the reasoning behind not putting them on a common shaft or common journal. But yeah, 4.3s are weird. Supposed to be just like a small block. It's just a little bit different. Hi, welcome back. It's day 2. Probably the same video. I don't know why I said welcome back, but it seemed appropriate. It was 6 degrees this morning, like negative 15 Celsius. It's warmed up a little bit. We're up into the teens Fahrenheit. Oh, so I'm not even going to try and guess at Celsius conversions at this point. I'm a little tired. I just knew the other one from yesterday. Got the salamander running for the last couple hours in here while I get things organized, and it's up to hoodie temperatures anyways. Probably hovering in the mid 50s. Really ought to have a thermometer out here to help verify how miserable I should be, maybe. Anyways, let's dive into where we're at. If you remember, we took apart this motor, and it's crustier than you could imagine. So that one wasn't treated well, but at the same time, I think the bearings are new. I think somebody started to rebuild this motor, but then we're dealing with the pistons with the rings that are stuck. So we got possibly new bearings, but we got pistons that we know the rings are compromised. And then we got this set that we just pulled out of the 4.3. Yeah, there was a lot of miles on that 4.3, but the rings all move nice and free inside of them. We know that the bearings are probably junk, just because it's a 240,000 mile motor that's full of gasoline and oil mix. So, and it got ran that way for a little bit. Got it ran that way until it wouldn't run. Yeah, and the drain plug, the magnet was covered in metal, so we pretty well just assumed that these bearings are trash. But these pistons are probably good. So we just need to find 2 good pistons with reasonably free rings out of that group of 8. And then we get over here to the lifters. Now we know that these all come out fighting. And as gummy as the inside of that motor is, I have to wonder, how plugged up are the insides of those lifters. On the other hand, we know this motor got ran with gas in the oil, but I don't feel anything funny on the lifters, and these things all but jumped out of the bore. So we'll have to test them But I'm thinking that I got 6 cylinders worth of piston or lifters here. That I just need to find the best pair out of these. And I believe the dog bones are the same. The lifters match the dog bones, yeah. So those will work with those dog bones. And being a roller lifter, you don't have to be as concerned. You don't have to be as concerned with wear patterns on the cam and the lifter being ground into the cam. I don't necessarily like what I see on the cam, but it's not horrible either. It's got some wear. But we're not buying a camshaft. In fact, the whole goal of this motor is to throw it together as cheaply as possible. Now, these should be the same size as these. I'll just kind of do some redneck engineering here. Yeah, I would say that we're dealing with the same diameter. And the rod lengths look the same. Huh. The rods are a little different, rod ends. Huh. I might pose a balance issue. These are wider and these are taller. I guess, that's one of those ep around to find out moments. We're going to give it a shot. I don't know if it's going to work. We might get a scale out here and see if they weigh the same. I suppose that would be something an engine builder might do. Get them kind of balanced. Man, we'd probably do that. We'll explore that avenue anyways. You kind of got an idea of how the 4.3 is going to save us. I just gotta get this Titanic of a mess here cleaned up and get this block ready to receive new parts and get this block all cleaned up, see if I can get them lifter bores cleaned up to the point where a lifter will actually slide up and down it. Yeah, that's where we're at with this one. Alrighty, got the block cleaned up, lifter sliding in and out of it real nice now. Cared enough to throw the wrong kind of paint on it, but she is a flat black. It'll probably fall off in the first month or so of being in the truck, but for now, for video, for my own entertainment, it's not rusty. It's black. Kind of looks like a professional did it. So we're going to turn the heater back on. Let that paint cure out somewhat before I close up for the rest of the night. Run into the parts store tomorrow and check on a gasket kit. And I think that's all I'm going to do. I think I'm going to try to salvage the rings I got and salvage the bearings I have. And I'm pretty sure that this crankshaft is new. It doesn't look as used as the rest of the motor anyways. So yeah, we'll get that pulled out tomorrow and start putting things together.